I was 16, a kid. It was a Wednesday. We'd gotten out of school early that day. I wanted to go to the movies because it wasn't a warm day, but my friend insisted we go to the lake because she wanted to swim. So I agreed. We went. The sun was hiding behind the clouds and there weren't that many people there. We jumped off the dock a few times and shivered in our bikinis. The sun slowly started to come out and a few more people showed up. I don't remember the exact moment I saw him, but before I knew it, this group of older guys was talking to me and my friend. This one guy kept staring at me, and soon we were joking around with them. The guy was flirting with me and throwing me into the lake. My friend was nervous and kept whispering to me that we should leave, but I was having too much fun. I didn't want to go yet. Eventually, she rushed me out of there in a hurry, and I didn't have anything but his name. Later that night, he found me on Facebook and sent me a message. He was 21, and he told me he didn't care that I was 16. I was flattered that an older guy had any interest in me. He kept telling me how gorgeous I was and how cute I had looked in my bikini that day. I was so excited. I told my friends the next day at school, except they weren't excited. They thought it was creepy and begged me not to see him or talk to him again. Against their warnings, I let him pick me up after school that day. I was nervous but excited. He rolled up in his old pickup truck and I hopped right in. He was quite charming and kept complimenting me. I had so much fun that day that I let him pick me up again the next night. I was so happy every time he kissed me, and I loved his country boy vibe. It was getting darker, and we pulled up to a trail in the woods. We went on a walk, and he started to kiss me again. And he said he wanted to do something on this bench in the middle of the woods. I told him I wasn't ready to do that, since we'd just met, but he kept insisting, till I agreed. I called my best friend after, because I was so happy. She was happy for me, but seemed a little worried, because he'd convinced me to do it. The next few months of my life consisted of me and him being together constantly. I ignored what my parents said. I snuck out in the middle of the night to be with him. We had sex whenever and wherever he wanted. I bought him anything he wanted and did whatever he asked. I loved him more than anything. I didn't care about what anyone told me. I only cared what he said. I suddenly cared about him more than my family and friends that had been my world forever. He was my new world. I breathed only for him, and only because he allowed it. He could convince me to do anything he wanted. He stopped me from doing things I needed to do, like go to school and rehearsal. He kept me from going away to camp during the summer. 3 days before my 17th birthday, he showed up at my house and told me he was breaking up with me because he'd met someone else. I collapsed on the ground and my head was spinning. This couldn't be real. The next few months, I felt like I'd died. I didn't eat or sleep or function correctly. I slit my wrists open and watched them bleed, all because this man had left me. I had been so consumed by him, I didn't know what to do. One night he called me crying, saying he needed me. So of course, without a second thought, I went to him. He told me he needed me back, and he'd made a mistake by leaving me. That his new girl was horrible, and I was so much better. So of course I took him back. He told me she was gone, and suddenly I had my world back. I found out shortly that he was still sleeping with her, and I broke down, but he told me he didn't mean to do it, and he was done with her, so I forgave him. That kept happening over and over again, and every time I forgave him. I tried to leave, but he would cry and beg and tell me he needed me, and every time I stayed. I would get angry at him, and he would tell me it was my fault he acted the way he did. And I believed him. Months of this passed until one day I put my foot down and I said to him, "No, I'm done. You can't push me around anymore. I don't love you anymore." And I left. He still tries to get me to do what he wants. He still tries to manipulate me, but I ignore him. I've moved on, and I'm finally happy and in a real and healthy relationship, built on love and trust, instead of abuse and pain.